Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome to my planet on YouTube. Hope you enjoy this video. Okay, so I had tweeted out what kind of videos you guys from my Twitter would like to see on my YouTube channel. And my girl at Niki's Riverdale said, "Can you do a video on why and how you started shipping Barchie and Jeronica and like some reasons to ship them?" Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you this now. It might be long. Okay, I understand, like, I could shorten down my videos, but for me to fully express what you're asking me, I need to go in depth. I can't just say, oh, this is why, this is why. I got to fully explain it because there's so much to both these couples ships. There's something both to these ships, couples, there's connections that I have to address in separate things. So might be a little long. If you stick around to the end, you're awesome. If you don't, it's okay. I understand. Like, no harm done. Okay. So, can you do why and how you started shipping Barchie and Jeronica? Okay. Let's start with Barchie. Okay. Now, mind you, when I was younger, I did grow up, like, I would be waiting in line with my mom and I'd read the comics, and I always loved Archie, Betty, and Veronica. I always loved that triangle, and I always loved seeing what was happening. But I think deep down, I always liked Archie and Betty. I kind of always was like, oh, Archie and Betty. I kind of just, so I think I was always an Archie and Betty shipper with the comics. But that being said, okay, so I start this show, Riverdale, and honestly, I go into it not knowing who I'm going to ship yet. I don't have anybody in mind. I just go into it excited for it because it looks fucking awesome. And of course, I know the triangle is going to happen. So I know eventually Archie and Betty and Archie and Veronica and all that stuff. But I watched the first episode, and what gets me, the scene that really, really gets me, is I love the scene where she tells Archie her feelings and he kind of turns her down. And I understand why he didn't feel like he was good enough, which he did say he doesn't feel like he's good enough for, and he's sleeping with Grundy, ew. But anyways, so that was a really important scene. But the scene that really got me, like really got me, I feel like I'm missing something. Like the other scenes were so great, trust me, they were. I love seeing them and their friendship and stuff, and then you see Veronica introduced. But anyways, the scene that really sold me on them was the ending scene where Archie went to Betty's house after the closet thing he did with Veronica. And that scene, oh my God, the way Lily portrayed Betty, I felt her pain. I felt her being rejected. I felt the emotions between both of them and how it was hurting them both. And I was like, oh my God, I can't. This is so beautiful. Like, even though the scene was heartbreaking, it was so beautiful. And it just made me ship Archie and Betty. And I just saw that real connection, and I saw there was feelings there, and I saw so much more to their story. And I mean, also, I love the whole best friends thing. I mean, they live right next door. I love that, you have the whole Jughead always feeling insecure about Archie and Betty's friendship because he's kind of felt like a third wheel. I think that's really great to hear, not for Jughead, but it's great to hear, like, about their past. Like, that scene was the scene that made me start shipping Archie and Betty. Um, I honestly did not even consider Veronica and Archie. They were not even in my top choices. I would choose Bughead over Veronica and Archie any day. But I didn't even know Bughead was coming. I don't think any of us knew. But anyways, yeah, so that was the scene that I started shipping them. Was that it wasn't one heart that broke that night, it was two. And I will always remember that. It was just such a heartbreaking but beautiful scene, and the way it was portrayed, you could just see the feelings between these two people and this connection, and they're best friends, and it's just like, oh, it was heartbreaking but so beautiful. Like, I'm gonna have to, like, make sure okay, because you said why and how you started shipping. Okay, yeah. So that's why I started shipping Archie and Betty. Stop being a bitch. Sorry, I'm talking my phone. That's why I started shipping Archie and Betty. That scene sold me. Like, at the beginning of the episode, I was already kind of like Archie and Betty, like I was already on their side because the way she was looking at him and the way he was looking at her, I was dying. But that end scene was really what got me. That's what really sold me on shipping Archie and Betty. So why and how you started shipping? So that's why I started shipping, and ever since then, I've been an Archie and Betty shipper till the end. Will never stop being an Archie and Betty shipper. I have such high hopes for them. You guys know I am the biggest Archie and Betty enthusiast. I always look on the bright side of things, or try to. I stay positive. I believe in the writers. Um, okay. Well, before I get into why and how I started shipping Jeronica, let me tell you some reasons to ship Barchie. Now, for me, shipping Barchie, why you should ship Barchie, this is your choice, by the way. I'm not forcing this on you, but reasons to ship them is because it's so obvious that they have a connection unlike anyone else on the show. That isn't an important thing. They have a very deep connection. And of course, they're going to. They grew up next to each other since they were 4 years old. Their bedroom windows are right across from each other. They've walked to school together every day. They were in all the same classes. I mean, they were inseparable. So it's understandable that they're going to have this strong connection that others don't have, like Jughead and Betty or Veronica and Archie. They can't understand the connection Betty and Archie have. And so with this strong connection also comes these looks between these two saying so much. Like you could watch an episode and it could be Bughead and Varchie all the way, but yet the way Archie and Betty looked at each other in a certain scene just tells you something completely different. I mean, I honestly, if you need to watch some of my previous videos if you feel like it on Archie and Betty, because I've explained it even better. But honestly, you have to feel some type of way for them to ship them. That's what I'm saying. Like I can't tell you, like I'm gonna tell you reasons why you should ship them, but it's your choice. You gotta watch them and see if you get that feeling I got when I first watched them. When I knew this was it. This was the couple end game. This was my holy grail. Like when Blark and the 100, I knew they were my holy grail. Even when they hated each other, I was like, yes, 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 yes. Okay? But reasons to ship Archie and Betty, they have, I mean, isn't it great? Like, come on, who doesn't love, like even Cole said, who doesn't love two best friends who grew up together and then developed into a relationship? I mean, you're dating your best friend. Yeah, sometimes it can't work out and sometimes it does work out and sometimes it can go really bad or sometimes it can go really good. But what isn't it great like dating your best friend? Like your best friend is also your boyfriend, you know? And yeah, Jughead and Betty are friends and stuff, but they're not best friends. So with Archie and Betty, it's like it's even better. And I mean, I could just see them when they first get together, like being awkward because they're best friends, but then it's like they're also very passionate for each other. Like Archie and Betty, I just don't know how to explain. I'm sorry, it is so hard. But you should ship Archie and Betty because of their connection, because of their history, and the more history we're going to get to see. I mean, their history is a big part of why I continue to ship them too, because I love the idea of knowing what they were like when they were younger, all three of them, and how Jughead felt. And also that Christmas scene, you see Archie give Betty something from their childhood, and it's such a sweet scene. And you're like, wow, they just, they really go way back. And Veronica and Jughead can obviously tell and are not okay with it. But what do you expect? They're best friends. But honestly, you have to ship Barchie if you feel for them. You can't just, oh, well, I'll just ship them, I mean, you could, but if you don't feel for Barchie, then they're not for you, and that's okay. I mean, you can ship Bughead or Barchie, but there's just so many reasons why you should ship Barchie. I mean, it's the glances, it's the way they are with each other. I mean, it's the looks, it's the things that aren't said and the things that are said. It's the kiss. I mean, it's so obvious. I mean, we know Betty has feelings for Archie, and we know Archie has feelings for Betty. Now, he had feelings for her in season 1, episode 1, but he didn't think he was good enough for her. And he said it again a few episodes later. So that was clear in his mind that he didn't think he was good enough for this perfect girl next door, which she hated. She's not perfect. But uh so he liked her since then and she liked him, and it's not, yeah, she got with Jughead, but it's not easy to move on like that. You don't just automatically stop having feelings for your best friend you've had feelings for since God knows when, because I'm pretty sure it's been a long ass time. And so Archie and Betty, knowing they have feelings for each other as they're dating these other people, it makes it so much more interesting because you have to look for the little hints that the writers are giving us and find out what they're trying to tell us in between the lines. And we honestly, Barchie fans have to do detective work to figure out like what the writers are trying to get at, like in episode 14. And when you like figure it out, you're like, oh my God, like this is getting like development. This is getting great. Like you're disappointed, but at the same time, you're like, I can see where it's coming from, you know? Us Barchie fans have to do a lot of work being detectives. That's all I gotta say, especially episode 14. I'm sorry, like, if this got a little off topic, but I I just made so many videos about this that it's hard to like tell you all the reasons to ship them. It's like you just watch an Archie and Betty video on YouTube. Just watch an Archie and Betty video on YouTube. Or yeah, or any scene of Archie and Betty on YouTube and just see how you feel about them. Like you once you God, just the way they are together makes me feel complete. Like I'm not like over dramatic, but when they're together, I feel like it's two halves of a whole put back together. Like I just feel like it's right. Like they just give me that feeling of real love, you know, like real love that would last. So that's my whole Barchie thing. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Okay. Now on to Jeronica. Now, Jeronica. Okay. I actually started shipping them in season 1. It wasn't until season 2 that I got even more into them, but season 1, I liked the idea of Jughead and Veronica. Like when they were introduced and he sat next to her in the booth because, you know, Archie and Betty were sitting. Um, and that's another thing. You have Archie and Betty sitting on one side with Archie's arm around Betty. I'm not saying all relationship couple thing. They're just friends, you know. And then you have Veronica and Jughead sitting on one side. And it's like, end game, end game. This is how it's supposed to be. Archie and Betty, Veronica and Jughead. Like, but that's, I didn't think that until later on. But when they were first introduced and he sat next to her and stuff, I was like, oh, you know, I kind of like it, you know, I like it, you know, because I don't know, I just got like a little vibe. I liked it. God, when was like the exact moment though that I really started shipping them? That is so freaking hard to decide. I honestly think it was in season 2 that I really started to ship them because I'm trying to think back to season 1 and it's hard to think of some scenes because they really haven't had many scenes, just two of them, just the two of them. And even scenes with other people, including them too, it still wasn't really enough to give me something. But I always felt like one thing there wasn't a defining moment for me. It was just, I always felt like these two characters had so much more in common than they realized, that they could have a great friendship and possibly an even greater relationship. I just always felt since season 1, these two were more connected than they knew, that they had more in common than they knew. They're kindred spirits, I feel like, in a way. And I feel like, you know, he came from the wrong side of the tracks and she came from the right side of the tracks. And she's more the preppy, like, put together girl with her pearls and all that and money and stuff. And Jughead's just like the freaking plaid around him and his shirt and his beanie. And it's like complete opposites, but yet there's something real there, you know? There's something like I feel like they would understand each other more than anyone else could. I feel like they could talk to each other about their home life, about their problems, and they would understand each other better than Archie would understand or Betty might understand. Just because I feel like they can relate so much more to each other. And I always felt that way since season 1. And then going into season 2, I mean, the chemistry just became so undeniable. Like, you have Jughead going up against Hiram, like, and Veronica's Hiram's daughters, and Veronica and Jughead are friends, you know? So it's like so interesting to see like butting heads and the freaking tension, but there's the tension and the undeniable chemistry within that tension and the looks. Like we'll get little glances of them and it's just like, oh my God, like you want to rip her clothes off, holy shit. Like that's how I feel. Like when they look at each other, I just feel the tension, I feel that chemistry. And even Cammy said after episode 14, she was like, they have some strange chemistry, you know, like some strange chemistry connection, and I could see them hooking up in the future, kind of like Joey and Pacey in season 3 of Dawson's Creek. And I was like, hell yes. And I was like, wait, hook up again? You mean like kiss again or hook up? But no, she said that, so that's a plus. But anyways, yeah, I've always just felt like they were connected. I really wanted a friendship between them two to bloom. I really, really wanted that. And going into season two, their friendship got better, but now you have, like I said, Jughead going against trying to take down Hiram, and Veronica being Hiram's daughter, and Jughead and Veronica being friends. So they're going to kind of be at each other's throats, which we've seen so far, and I love it because the looks they give each other are freaking tense. But it also, you can just see the chemistry. Like I could totally see them being a very passionate couple. Like me, I don't know how to explain it, but to me, they are perfect for each other. I just see it. I don't see Veronica with anybody else, to be honest. I mean, and it's not because I want Veronica to not be with Archie and I want Jughead to not be with Betty. It's because I honestly feel like Jughead and Veronica are meant to be. I feel like there's this connection that has yet to connect between them. I'm waiting to see. I hope the writers do. I mean, I can't wait to see them continue to butt heads because it's so interesting, because they are friends, but at the same time, he's trying to take down her dad. And it's just like, season two has just made me fall in love even more because they have some tense scenes and they're going at each other's throats in some of the scenes, especially episode 14. And then just the glances they give each other and the subtle looks, and it's like I just feel it. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I just feel like they are meant to be. That's as simple as that. It's with Archie and Betty too. I feel they're meant to be. Same could be said with Cheryl and Tony. I feel like they're meant to be. They're kindred spirits. I feel like Tony is what Cheryl needs. And Cheryl is what Tony needs. Wait, Tony is what Cheryl needs. No, Tony is what Cheryl needs. Yeah, Tony is what Cheryl needs. I feel like they're kindred spirits, and that's what also I love. They're also on the opposite sides of the track, but they also have a lot more in common than they would think, and I think they can understand each other better than others. Like, see, that's another one. Like, Cheryl and Tony also have that. And they just started out, and already you can see the development in episode 14, and you can see the understanding between them and the kind of way Tony is there for her, even though she barely knows her and she's kind of been a bitch to her since up until this point. And that's another great thing. So, shout out to Tony Warriors and Tony Hoes. Like, I'm giving you my shout out because you guys are awesome, and I am with you with Choni. I love Cheryl and Tony. Yes! Woo! Yes. Join the Choni Warriors or the Choni Hoes, whichever you want, because we are here to stay. Choni, all day. No. Okay, so anyways, moving on. But yeah, I feel it, And the reason you should ship Jughead and Veronica is exactly what I just said. Because, again, I feel it, but others don't, or might not. Or maybe they do. If you do, that's awesome. But just start from season one and look at their home lives. Look at their relationships with their fathers in season one. And just look at how much they have in common that really isn't explored. Like, and really isn't shown, because at this point they're not really friends. He doesn't consider her a friend. He says it at his birthday party. Betty and Archie is his only friends. But you can just see the connection. Like, they just you as you're watching their separate storylines, at least for me, I'm thinking, God, their father issues are somewhat similar. The crazy stuff going on in their family is somewhat similar. Like, they would have a great friendship. I would totally be fine even with the friendship. Of course, I want them together. But if we got a friendship even, I would be totally satisfied, but still want a relationship. Just gonna put that out there again because I do want a relationship. But I really want a friendship to bloom. But why you should ship them is because just look at the parallels between them. Look at how different they are, but how alike they are. Look at the way they look at each other in those tense moments, and you kind of see that like passion inside, that chemistry. Not saying they're thinking in this moment, I want to rip your clothes off, but you get that kind of sense from the looks because it's so tense, and you're just like, woo. Like, I couldn't explain, like honestly, like I said about Barchie, it's up to you whether you ship Veronica and Jughead. But me, I ship them. I mean, it's since season one, I've just seen this connection, and season two made it even more of a connection, and more scenes with them have made me fall more and more in love with them. And you really have to look at them separately and together and see how much they really do relate to each other or have in common, and the great friendship they could have. Even if you don't ship them, think of the great friendship they could have, you know? There, it's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's such a beautiful thing. Like, I'm sorry if this video was like kind of all over the place, rambly, and it was not what you expected or something. Like, I've made so many of these, it's like hard for me to keep like talk, like tell you guys about it, because it's like, well, I've already said all of it basically. But also at the same time, it's like, I could tell you why to ship them, but you have to ship them. And honestly, sh- reasons to ship them is how you feel about them. And how I felt when I was introduced to Archie and Betty stood with me until now. Going on, it's still going on. And how I felt with Jughead and Veronica happened in season one and stuck with me until now and continuing on. I just got that feeling right away. I had that for Barchie, I had that defining scene, but for Jughead and Veronica, I had that connection I made, and that's what really got me onto Jughead and Veronica. You know, so I mean, you have to really you have to decide if Archie and Betty make you feel some type of way, or if Jughead and Veronica make you feel some type of way. I mean, I guarantee if you watch an Archie and Betty video or a Jughead and Veronica video on YouTube, you're gonna probably fall in love, unless you're already Bughead and Varchie. Then you're probably gonna be like, eh, or not watch it at all. But honestly, if you watch just one video of Archie and Betty or one video of Jughead and Veronica, you will see what I'm talking about, and you will possibly fall in love with them like I have, And I mean, let's not forget that kissing scene. Like, let's be honest. I think even Archie and Betty could tell there was some chemistry between Veronica and Jughead in that kissing scene. So that's another big thing. Like, even Archie and Betty could see the like chemistry between them. I mean, because that kiss went on for a good while. Just saying, and it was, you know, how it was. So, I mean, that's another reason to ship them. Like, it's so funny because Veronica and Jughead see that Archie and Betty have feelings for each other, right? And Archie and Betty see that Jughead and Veronica have some kind of strange chemistry. And it's like, does that not tell you that you, Archie, you, Betty, should be together? You, Jughead, you, Veronica, should be together? Like, doesn't that tell you something? Like, I honestly feel like I will always remember that scene in Pops where it's Archie and Betty, Jughead and Veronica, and I feel like when the show ends completely, it should end with them like that. Right before, I don't know if, because we might not go into college. So right before they leave for college, they have one last milkshake at Pops, and Archie and Betty are together and possibly engaged because she said, "Wait till we're 18 and I'll say yes," about him proposing. Which, if that happens in the show, oh my god, I that would ship her dreams, man. That would be whoa. I don't know if it would happen. I honestly believe it would, because it is like a big thing, and they did mention it, so it's kind of like, you foreshadowing. So, like, I think that would just be awesome. But I just want the series to end, like, with Jughead and Veronica on their side, like it started in the beginning of season one, and they're together and they're happy. And then you have on the other side, it's Archie and Betty. They're together, they're happy, and it's their last hurrah before college, and you see them happy and together. And it's just like, I don't know, that just to me feels right. And that to me seems like the way the show would end. Like, I just can't express enough how much I believe Barchie and Jeronica are endgame. And even if they weren't endgame, I still see them being together. I still see them as true soulmates. I still see the connections. I still see the chemistry, the history, you know. And I think Jughead and Veronica can make their own history together, if they bloom that friendship even more. And I think the more tense it gets between Jughead and Veronica and her dad, I think the better the tension between them is going to get, and the chemistry. And I'm not saying anything's going to happen, but I'm just saying, it's going to get more and more. And who knows? When the triangle happens, maybe Veronica and Jughead form a friendship because, Archie and Betty are, figuring things out, but then Veronica's also included because he can't choose between one of them, so they're, all trying to figure it out. And maybe she connects with Jughead, over this, or maybe when he chooses Betty, because I think he will choose Betty, then her and Jughead form a friendship, or have already formed a friendship, and then turns into a relationship. Because when she said that they could possibly hook up again, like I'm like, oh my god. And she said like Joey and Pacey in season 3 of Dawson's Creek. So it's like, what does that mean in season 3 you're gonna hook up? Because that would make sense. Okay, going into season 3, the triangle's still happening probably, because I don't think he's gonna pick at the end of the season, like season 2. I don't think he picks yet. So going into season 3, if the triangle's still happening, um, what was I saying? Oh, if the triangle's still happening, hold on, sorry. Okay, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so if the triangle's still happening in season 3, and then it ends midway season 3, he finally chooses someone, then I could see. Ooh, that would be so interesting, Veronica and Jughead. Like, I don't know if season 3 they'd hook up. Like, it depends on when Archie chooses, and then it depends on who he chooses, which I believe is Betty. But believe who you want to believe. I believe it's Betty. So it depends on who he chooses, when he chooses this person, and if, like I think he chooses Betty, and he does choose Betty, I think, then Veronica might form this kind of friendship, or more of a friendship, anyways, with Jughead, because, Archie and Betty are now dating, and these two are kind of on the sidelines and shit. And maybe, they can connect on the whole Archie and Betty thing, which they could. And maybe they have a casual hookup or something. Like, things could just happen. Oh, another thing I really want to mention is another moment that I loved is, also someone pointed this out, and it kind of is true. In the episode, I don't know what episode it was, but in season 1 at Jughead's birthday party, he walks in and Veronica and Archie are hugging, and he kind of looks jealous. Someone pointed this out, and it's like, I wonder why. And they're like, why did they make him look jealous? And it is kind of curious, why make Jughead look jealous, because there wasn't really anything there. He even said later on that Veronica's not really his friend at all. He just met her. So it was kind of odd. Um, so that was that. But that then at the end of that episode, when she's coming down after sleeping, or doing whatever with Archie up there, kissing, sleeping, doing the blah, blah, blah. Oh, sorry. Um, she comes down, and Jughead's like, and she sees Jughead, and Jughead sees Veronica, and just the way they smile at each other, and I know she's smiling because her and Archie, just had this great night, great moment, and just like, I don't know, like the way they were smiling and looking at each other was so like beautiful. Like it was like a, it, I don't know, it was a different kind of like smile at each other. And right away she knew she could trust him not to say anything and stuff, and he of course won't. But that's cool because, like before he was saying like she's not his friend, but now it's like she can trust him not to tell, and it's kind of like they are friends. He kind of makes light of the situation. But when they like smile at each other, knowing what had happened, her and Archie, even though it's because of her and Archie, I still just see the way they look at each other, and it's just, even it's not just your mouth that's saying something, when you're smiling. It's also your eyes saying a whole bunch too. That's another thing. Like, even though some things might not be said, you have to look at how they react to certain situations. Barchie and Jeronica, how what they say and what they don't say, like how Betty and Archie never said they regretted the kiss, and how Betty said she kissed Archie, but Archie said he kissed Betty. And yeah, Archie told Veronica about the kiss, but that's only because, first off, Cheryl was blackmailing him. But second, he told her because she knew something was up, and he couldn't exactly say, oh, well, I'm helping this FBI agent, or was pretending to help, and he's not really even an FBI agent. So instead, he tells about the kiss. So that's basically the only reason he told her about the kiss. So Archie ain't no goody good. Like, I love Archie. I'm just saying. That also says a lot. He probably wouldn't have told her about the kiss either. And same with the way Betty didn't tell Jughead. But then Jughead found out from Cheryl. And it makes sense why she wouldn't tell him, because, I mean, of course, she is like thinking, oh, she knows how he feels about her and Archie's friendship. So she didn't want to kind of, And also, it could mean something. Like, they, that's another pivotal thing about Barchie that I want to say. Sorry, this is the last thing. But in that hot tub scene, they were so against the kissing between Jughead and Veronica. And now, yes, you could say, well, of course they are. That's their boyfriend and girlfriend. But also, I mean, it even though you can't really compare the kisses, like you can't say, well, I understand why they did this in 214. It's like, well, it's only fair. And it is kind of true. Like, it is only fair. Like, really, you guys kiss, so why can't we kiss? It meant nothing, right? Like, I love when Jughead says that. It's just a stupid kiss, right? Like, seeing what Archie will say. And they say nothing, Archie and Betty. They just look at each other like they're up, like not liking this because they don't say anything. That's telling you right there the kiss meant something. Because if they said no, you guys can't kiss, then Jughead and Veronica would be like, why? Because when you guys kissed, it meant something, and you think this will, So by them not saying anything and letting them kiss, it said tons more that the kiss they shared, Archie and Betty, meant something. Because no one's yet said they regretted it. I mean, it's so obvious that it meant something. I mean, oh, it was an intense moment, intense scene, and no, there was feelings there. And I mean, damn, even Cheryl said it was tongue serious, which I don't know about that, but I mean, they fucking both kissed each other. There was some tension, there was some passion there. They were both equally in on this kiss. No one pulled away first, none of that shit. And they were surprised that they actually did it. Betty was surprised she actually kissed him finally, and Archie was surprised that she actually kissed him because it's like, oh no, like Veronica, and she's like, oh no, Jughead, like, what are they gonna think? So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I mean, I'm sorry this was so long, but if you stood till the end, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. Yeah, so this was about Barchie and Jeronica and why I shipped them and when I started and reasons you should ship them, along with some other rambling things I do. This is basically Riverdale talk, which is what I'll title it, with Barchie and Jeronica. But yeah, I mean, you have to decide for yourself if you ship Archie and Betty and Jughead and Veronica, or Archie and Betty, or just Jughead and Veronica. You yourself have to decide. If you've never seen Riverdale and per se you don't want to watch the show, go online and search Archie and Betty videos, Jughead and Veronica videos, and just see if you like the couples at least, or see Bughead videos or Varchie videos and see maybe you like the couples and you want to keep up with the couples but not the show. Or if you want to get into the show, then get into the show, and then you, as you're watching, will automatically feel and decide who you ship. I could tell you reasons why, and I have told reasons why before, but you have to feel what I felt. Not really feel what I felt, but you have to feel something for them. You have to want to see more of them. You have to love them. I can't tell you reasons why to ship them and then you're just like, oh, I'm gonna ship them. But that's what I just want to say. Like, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm sorry, I'm so crazy, I know. But yes, I love talking about Riverdale, so hope you enjoyed.